Southampton are desperate for a win to boost their relegation battle. It's currently 0-0 in their game against Leicester coming up on the hour. Meanwhile, the suspensions handed to Waterford duo Bastian Heary and Stanley Abora following their dismissals against Cork City have been partially reduced on appeal. Heary's ban has been cut from 4 to 3 games, while Abora will just serve 4 rather than 6. Jockey Robbie Powers says Jessica Harrington's yard have been left devastated by the sudden passing of last year's Irish Grand National winner R. Duke. The 8-year-old suffered a heart attack this morning after routine exercise ahead of the Punchestown Festival. His last run came in the Cheltenham Gold Cup last month.
Burnley.
Goal Burnley. Does he?
Goodmanson and Ashley Barnes are.
Yeah, it was a huge deflection, so it must have come off Barnes rather than a Chelsea player. Goodmanson sort of arrowed in, took a shot from around 25 yards, and it took a wicket deflection and went in. And the Chelsea players are now protesting.
Has this not been given? It seems like Ashley Barnes is wagging a finger at the linesman. No, he's pumping his fist towards the fans. It seems this has been given. They are trying to work the ball through midfield. Jack Cork is involved there. Pushes it out wide right. Chelsea trying to track back. They lose the runner. It's a left-footed shot, it seems, from Goodmanson in off Barnes.
Yeah. They're probably claiming that Barnes was in an offside position. It looks...
He isn't.
Marginal for him. Yeah, one of his teammates was definitely offside, but I'm not really sure.
Looks like Chris Wood would have been offside on the near side, but Goodmanson's left-footed shot just outside the box. It takes a flick off the heel of Ashley Barnes, who was onside, or at least level, which is of course onside, with the Chelsea defence when that ball is played. So it's 1 each.
In golf, Michael Hoey leads the Irish Challenge on the first day of the Hassan Trophy in Morocco. He's 3 under par after an opening round of 69, 2 shots behind the leaders Alvaro Quiroz and Bradley Dredge. Paul Dunn's 1 over into day 2 with Gavin Moynihan 5 over. Graham McDowell's shot a level par opening round 72 at the Valero Texas Open. He trails the clubhouse leader Grayson Murray, Richie, by 5 shots.
Cheers to that, Will. Time for the football show.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the Boyle Sports app. Cash out and in-play betting available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
The Irish Independent Dan McDonnell joins us in studio. Burnley 1, Chelsea 1, the latest score from Turf Moor. Burnley, of course, just scoring through that deflected. I say deflected, it's in off Ashley Barnes. But Leicester 0, Southampton 0 is the latest score, and probably the most pressing result of the pressing score of the two of them tonight, Dan. Still scoreless. Southampton needed 3 points. Burnley and Chelsea level. Chelsea, a pretty typical performance from them. They're kind of like the better side on the pitch, and then they decide we'll switch off for 5 minutes. Yeah,
they were completely dominant really in the first half. Well, they got the goal, sort of an unfortunate own goal really from Kevin Long. And yeah, I think the stat was Burnley didn't even have a shot in the first half, and it certainly felt that way in terms of watching the game and then sort of tuning out and not hearing much by way of cheers for a couple of minutes. They just have that wonderfully complacent streak in them, Chelsea. I know that they have a cup game at the weekend, which is bigger. They're fairly
They're not going anywhere in the league.
No, they're not going anywhere. No, I mean they need sort of a miraculous series of events to unfold. So it's still, I mean the fact that Hazard's on the bench tonight, they obviously are looking ahead. But I mean, I think it's been touched on in this show over the last while. I think even when Keith Andrews might have been speaking about it earlier in his show, that Conte seems to be tuning out as much himself. He's pretty relaxed in some of his comments, speaking like a man who isn't really going to deal with the consequences of how this season is really going to pan out. And there seems to be almost an inevitability about how that's all going to go. So when you have the sense that attitude is there, that probably the guy who's in charge isn't going to be your manager next year, you can see how that sort of just lends itself to a real sense of complacency, and the season sort of drifts away. As much as there should be professional pride and all the things that you look for and you demand and you want it.
Dan, we know those things aren't real.
We know they aren't real. Well, they're not real at Chelsea anyway. They're not real at Chelsea. They'll have a good season next year, bad one the year after, and it'll repeat and always be so.
It is the more you think about it, and the more you dwell on Chelsea, it is a weird scenario when you figure that the squad that maybe didn't take to Luis Felipe Scolari, as we see Nick Pope bat another Chelsea shot away, the squad that didn't take to Luis Felipe Scolari, the one that obviously didn't take to AVB and ultimately turned against Jose Mourinho, and on we could go and list any number of managers from the past decade at Chelsea. You kind of figure that generation of players is gone by and large. if not entirely, and John Terry is probably the last vestiges of that to walk out the door last year, that there should be a renewed culture about Chelsea of acceptance is probably the wrong word, but I suppose openness to whoever happens to be in charge of the side. But that notion of, yeah, we don't fancy this guy, we're just going to down tools for a bit and away he goes.
Being handed down as
Victor Moses scores back and forth. It's all grand, scrapped for the next 10 minutes. Yeah.
Bloody brilliant attitude, these lads. Victor Moses.
They never say die, Dan. They never say die. That's Conte's.
Conte's parading the sideline there because that's a group that's responding to him.
Yeah.
You know, they've responded. What character to come back from a concession and take the lead within 5 minutes.
But generally the point holds.
No, of course it does. They are. I mean, Chelsea have these games where they all click and they look really good. And, you know, Hazard's as good as anyone in the Premier League, and you're thinking, well, why are you fifth? You know, there's, some distance behind, for example, a Spurs side that were so much better than them when they played recently. And yet they're paying some of their players like a fraction of what some of the Chelsea players are on. It must madden you. And you say, you are talking about almost a culture that has been handed down from one dressing room to the next, or from the transition from one group of players to the next. And yeah, it is hard that malaise sets in. I mean, I've been to Cobham. It's a leafy place. It's a nice way to live. I mean, maybe they need a bit more of an edge.
West London, some pricey real estate down.
Maybe during their week they need a bit more of an edge, in their working life, just to sort of remind them of their responsibilities or something. Because they can throw one in, and yet. But it's almost the club will come back.
It's almost as if they don't respond to an edge. It's as if, like, if they have a manager there who is a firebrand and someone who's likely to yap at them on the sideline or on the training pitch, that they decide that this guy can shut up a little bit and they don't want to really get involved. And now I see, I can't remember who wrote it, but it was one of those pieces over the course of the last 24 hours or so. Eden Hazard's coming on, by the way, for Alvaro Morata, and probably rescuing him as well. That they want to take a look at what their next manager is going to be and what he's going to represent and how he's going to, what culture he's going to bring to the club. It's a new thing that they should be looking for in a manager.
The one thing I would say, I know, and that is true, and you would think that you would like to have a new manager already in the background waiting to come in and assessing the character of some of the players as well. So the one thing that is it different with Conte than the others, like there was always the sense when it came to Scolari and those departures, that there was sort of the cabal of senior players who really were running the club, and that was the sort of chat that you would hear, that they were as influential as anybody, that they did for some of the managers. Whereas now you're sort of looking at that group and you're saying, well, where are those leaders? Where are those big figures? The Terry and Lampard,
who's off whispering in the
Drogba,
corner.
Who's to the forefront of this? And that might be the worry from a different perspective.
Let's name names, Dan. This sounds like an ample opportunity to just pick out players and slander them.
It's their fault. It's all them. It's all them. Who do you think?
Lenny Pidgley was always the blame.
It wasn't there not one thing, a story at certain times where certain players took issue that they were being blamed for a manager being gone. It was like, no, it was the other guys.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
the other guys. Are we allowed to say who those players were? I'm not even sure.
I think it's probably best to move on.
People can figure it out.
Yeah, Alvaro Morata's gone off and thrown a bit of a strop. Sam Vokes is going to come on for Chris Wood for Burnley, who are now chasing this game with 18 minutes to go. Of course, they can't call upon John Walters, who's still out injured. But our own Keith Andrews and the Keith Andrews Football Show got to go over to Burnley and speak to the man himself. Dan, he committed today pretty much to Ireland. He's going to stick around for the foreseeable, as long as he's fit and as long as Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane want him to be there.
Yeah, I think Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane will want him to be there for some time, I think. I mean, Martin O'Neill had spoken about the fact that he had met Walters and John Walters, and he expected him to stay, and that was the chat, but the one caveat was fitness based. So I think it's a significance. We hadn't heard from Walters for a while, and where his injury was at, and the fear would always be that his future at Burnley seems to be quite uncertain. I think he was going to join Sunderland until the latest injury cropped up, and it's possible that
thank God for him he didn't.
Well, that's true. Talk about dodging a bullet. But he might go somewhere else where a manager or is a chairman or someone is saying, oh, we're signing you, you're 34, 35 and you still want to play for Ireland, eh? And we've got a 46 game championship season here, say. So you still want to hear that commitment from him, and that's what that's what we've heard today.
It's something I was asking John about earlier on. Where do you see him being best deployed? And I'm not even talking about strictly in a playing sense.
Yeah, well firstly, Seamus Coleman is the captain and the leader of that group, but they still had Walters in around the camp in October, November, and he is a great pro, and I think that his influence there, that senior figure, you'll have a transition, but you can't go completely from one extreme to the other. There actually could be, the limited 30-somethings in his age bracket around the next campaign. I know the likes of Ward and that are past 30, but the guys in their mid-30s stage.
Steve Ward is still a 19-year-old
striker. Yeah, at Bowes, for you, Richie, and for any other Bowes people out there. But from a pure playing perspective, though, and it's hard not to return to that, I think his future would be central. I think it would be not that guy on the right side who is the buffer defensively for Seamus Coleman. I think you probably have to evolve and think that Walters is a more direct outlet through the centre. He's played his best football for Ireland probably through the centre in the last campaign. He was brilliant in the Euros campaign. The World Cup qualifiers, think of Austria and Moldova, I think, when he went in central. He was more probably effective when he went into that central position. I think at 35, he probably doesn't want to be doing those runs, those 60-yard defensive runs back. He actually got caught for, I think, the Serbia goal, I think, in that game. So I think his future will be through the centre. Maguire and Hogan that are there, they're small guys. Maguire's got an unbelievable, and Long. Okay, Long is a bit of both in some ways. Maguire can actually, he's got a hell of a leap on him, but still, Walters is a presence, and sometimes O'Neill likes to play with that midfield diamond. He likes to play with the two strikers where possible. Now that was Walters and Murphy sometimes. It was a bit of a Bruise Brothers thing when they were there.
Ian Ormondroyd.
Yeah. But when you have a lot of players that are maybe central players, you think about Hendrick and Brady and Arthur, we'll see where he stands, McCarthy, even Declan Rice in midfield. McLean is the out-and-out winger maybe that's there, but you would think in certain games, even sometimes he's played him in a front two, and you would think if he's going to play two, it could be a Walters as an outlet, and then a Maguire or someone playing off him, or Hogan playing off him. So presence-wise, he's got a lot to offer, but football-wise, he's a bit different. I am forgetting Long, who you think will play more games than not. But Martin O'Neill hasn't always picked Shane Long when he's been available, so to conclude that O'Neill is 100% sold and Long as his number one striker would maybe be a bit of a stretch. But
with the options that are there, you would presume that he would be higher up the list than he would have been 18, 24 months ago.
Yeah, Darren Murphy effectively went ahead of Shane Long in the pecking order. Now Long wasn't always playing at club level, and
in terms of what O'Neill was trying to achieve on the pitch, Murphy probably made more sense.
He did at that point, yeah he did, and he, now I'd love in years to come to hear Shane Long's views on that, because he's, there have been times in his Ireland career where he's been completely impact sub, and he could reasonably argue that, well, I never actually got 3-4 games consecutively, which I think you'd struggle to look back over the last couple of years and find that run that Shane Long got unbroken. He probably never did, but that was because O'Neill seemed to have issues and really fully trusting him for that brief. So the fact that Walters is sticking around with Long, I just wouldn't say it's as straightforward as thinking that they might be the two. I think his use of Walters might have to be, it could be Walters and Long alternating with each other at times.
Okay, let's hear from John Walters. Keith Andrews, on his own aforementioned Keith Andrews Football Show, went over to Burnley to catch up with the man himself.
You're 35 in September.
Yeah.
Wes is gone. Darryl Murphy's gone. Martin says you can play till you're 64. I'm not sure about that. What are you thinking?
No, look, as long as I'm needed, I'll play. I think I met with Martin not too long. I think I was seeing a specialist down in London. I went to meet him, called him up and spoke to him, and I knew he was staying on, so I said, I think the plan was we were going to get to the World Cup, it was going to be great. I probably would have retired at the end of it. It would have been the pinnacle, really, getting to a World Cup, and the way it worked out. Talking about watching games, me and Seamus were watching there, and we went to the Wales one, it was unbelievable, and then still, when you're watching, I've never been so nervous watching a match. So then to go to the Denmark one 0-0 away, I thought brilliant, could bring them home, and it just didn't happen. And to have such a low like that when you're not playing, I couldn't have left it like that. I don't think, and that was probably a big reason behind it. I couldn't have left it like that. Look, if it was, if there was players coming through now, that's not saying there's not players coming through. If there's players coming through, and I felt like I couldn't help, then.
Do you feel like you have a bit of a responsibility then, maybe because of one of the elder statesmen? You still think you can do a job, which I certainly do.
Yeah, 100%. I think I can help, and I can, I believe in myself. I think I can definitely do a job, and I'm still fit. I'll still keep my fitness up, even though I haven't played this year a lot or at all. But I'm still in good nick, and I know my fitness will always be up there. If I'm not there, I'm on a machine with my arms to keep my lungs going here. So hopefully now, towards the end of the season, I'll be involved, and then going into the summer, and then there's a big 2 years. And whether it be a case of helping, I want to play as much as I can, and that would be for club and for country. But for country, I think, as I said, I think I can do a job and help the boys that are coming through. There's a couple of years ago, people were saying, where's the next one's coming through, and then you see the likes of, it tends to be late players coming through in the Ireland team. If you look in the squad, the likes of Shane Long, Seamus Coleman, anyone that comes through tends to be the late to come through. Yeah, longer here. Teams come through from the League of Ireland, coming over to England and doing well. It doesn't have to be a 17, 18 year old.
We were both in that bracket as well. I didn't make my debut till 28. I think you were
27, 28. Yeah. So we tend to come through later, but there is young lads here. Look at the back four: Seamus, Shane Duffy. Wardy's not now, but you've got James McLean, James McCarthy. God willing, he comes back from his injury. Go through the middle. The boy Declan Rice is flying at the moment. You go through the team, there is young players in there, so if I can help them in any way, shape or form, I've been there, experienced it all, and hopefully help through it.
When you spend time with players, not more so at international level, your story a few weeks ago hit me because you were talking about your mother and why you declared for Ireland. We spent years together in a dressing room, travelling all around Europe, wherever, trying to qualifying. Never realise what goes on in people's lives. Yeah,
and I think the older I've got, the more realising that now, the more realising I think it needs to be a little bit tighter and a little bit, you spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks away, sometimes you're locked in a room, aren't you, and it's tough, but you can get that bond going between lads, and I think that'll be the case in me in the next few years. I realise a lot more things, enjoy it more, going to the stadiums, take it in, because you don't realise it when you're younger. You don't realise what you've actually got. It's not going to last forever. So enjoy it, and you enjoy it by doing well. You're not going to enjoy it by going there and getting beaten. Enjoy playing, doing well, and it was a bit of a random one. Not too long ago with that interview, but it's helped me immensely, and helped me and my family, and
it kind of makes sense to me though, in terms of. You came into the squad and I instantly thought you're a natural fit. Other players come into a squad and you might be a bit wary of their intentions or whether they're genuine. You, right from the off, I think you were accepted. You'll tell me, maybe...
I played in the 21s as well.
Yeah.
I was there 21s. I played one game against Switzerland.
2003, wasn't it? That was a big...
Was it Switzerland? Switzerland? One game scored 2-1. Never got picked again. Now, I'd like to find out why, but a little bit of reason behind it. I was at Hull at the time, and Peter Taylor was the England under-21 manager, and he couldn't really understand why, and whatever happened then, I wasn't in it for a long time, and then I dropped down the leagues, and stuff behind the scenes with my family, and my daughter wasn't well, and ended up going down, being closer to home, and then bit of luck, but hard work along the way. Got myself back up, and when that call came in, there's nothing better. Nothing better. I was delighted to play the B game first, actually.
In Scotland,
wasn't it? In Scotland, yeah. Me and Alex Booth travelled up together, and then the call came in. It was great, but that was always my intention from a very young age. I was at Blackburn as a youth team. I got asked then. Because I think at Blackburn, first year there under 17s, I think I scored 40 goals in the youth team. I would have been one of the top scorers in England then. I got asked then had the coaches there, what are you thinking? And I said, if the call came in, there's only one choice for me.
And how do you look back at it now? I know it's not over, which I'm certainly delighted with, and I'm sure most every fan will, but like 2012, you've played 2016, 51 caps, Player of the Year, FAA Player of the Year in 2014-15. You've had some go considering you came into it quite late. You've been a crucial player over the last 5-6 years, haven't you?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I want to carry on. I don't want to just stop at that. I want to play a big part now of going to the Euros again. When I want to be a big part of the team going forward, and I think I can. I didn't think I could. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would have said, shook the manager's hand, wished the lads all the best, and moved on and supported. But I think I can play a big role, and that's why I'm carrying on.
Well, I'm glad you're not contemplating retirement, Jose. I appreciate you joining us, taking the time.
No, good.
Get back to the wheel now. Thank you.
Cheers. No problem.
He's an impressive character, Dan.
Oh yeah, no, he's a great fella, and he's certainly, as I said, speaking to us before, like the presence he brings around the place, not just sort of football stuff, but I think for players coming into the squad in terms of how to conduct yourself and appreciate what you've got, I guess. He's someone who, I think he's also taken a role in terms of the PFA in England as well. He's not just someone who's in football, living the selfish footballer's life for himself. I think he's sort of conscious of the highs and lows of the game, stuff that can happen, guys who can go off the rails early. You've spoken about all these things. So I'd imagine as a sort of a presence in a dressing room, particularly if there's younger lads there who are going through ups and downs, I think someone like him to bounce off is probably a great asset to be around the place. And he's certainly a fella I would imagine would be hearing more from in years to come, even when he stops playing, in some shape or form within the game.
They're into the final 5 minutes of Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Chelsea 2, the latest score there. And at the King Power, it's Leicester 0, Southampton 0. Hopefully we'll hear from Kevin Kilbane, who's been at the King Power this evening for that game once the full-time whistle goes. We'll hear more about Big Sam after this.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the Boyle Sports app. Cash out and in-play betting available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
News Talk Breakfast.
Wren Kitchens have conducted some very important scientific research to find out what biscuit is the best for dunking. But they also have a recommended dunking time. This is brilliant.
Yeah, the big problem is if you dunk too much, the thing falls off and then it's in the bottom of the mug and you have to try
exactly what they're talking about again. The breaking point.
And then you get the other biscuit that hasn't been dunked and you try and use that as a sort of a little ladle
like
to lift out the wet, sloppy one and get that out. Tea time in William's household.
News Talk Breakfast. Weekday mornings at 7.
In association with Air.
Back tomorrow on News Talk.
Have you ever dreamt of playing with your friends on a Premier League pitch? Well, now you can. Carling, the official beer of the Premier League, is giving you and 4 friends the chance to follow in the footsteps of the world's best players and play on a Premier League pitch. To enter the draw for this incredible prize, check out Carling Ireland on Facebook. Carling, bringing fans closer to the Premier League. Terms and conditions apply. Entrants must be 18 years of age or over to enter. For further information, visit drinkaware.ie.
Calling all retailers, don't miss Ireland's biggest and best retail show, the Retail Excellence Retail Retreat and Expo. 2,000 delegates, 150 cutting-edge expo partners, 70 world-class and inspirational speakers, including CEOs and business leaders past and present. Victoria's Secret, Applegreen, Leon Restaurants, John Lewis, Dreams, Woody's, Harvey Norman, The Retail Doctor, with Paul O'Connell, Brian Cody, David McWilliams and many more. All happening at City West Convention Centre May 15th and 16th. Visit retailexcellence.ie now to find out how you can exhibit or attend.
Now I have to fill in this address form on a mobile. I don't have time for this. The longer it takes to enter address details online, the higher the cart abandonment rate. Fact. And with an increase in mobile transactions, rapid address capture is now essential. By auto-completing the address or error code, auto-address saves up to 91% of keystrokes, increasing your sales and customer satisfaction. Having clean, verified addresses with error codes ensures accurate deliveries, especially in tricky rural areas. It also helps with your GDPR compliance, capturing over 2 million addresses a week for our customers. Auto-address delivers, and it's a cinch to integrate, so IT will be happy too. For more details, visit autoaddress.ie.
What about a new iPhone? How about a free iPhone? At Carphone Warehouse, the iPhone 6S is free. Free with all-you-can-eat data. That's a super-powered 32-gig large-screen iPhone 6S free, saving you over €99. All you have to do is switch to the classic Flex Max plan from 3 at Carphone Warehouse. Hurry! Offer only available while stocks last. Any network, any phone, any plan. Only Carphone Warehouse. T's and C's apply. Offer subject to a 24-month contract.
If you are concerned about any symptoms that might suggest bowel or stomach problems, or you have a family history, talk to your GP about a direct referral to the internationally accredited endoscopy unit at the Bon Secours Hospital Dublin. And within 72 hours, you'll be in the expert hands of the most renowned specialists in this field. To find out more about the direct access endoscopy unit, visit bonsecours.ie/Dublin. Bon Secours, advanced medicine, exceptional care.
Search sore throat.
Searching 32,731,462 results found.
What?
What?
Don't search your symptoms. Get a professional opinion on your health with Digital Doctor from Irish Life Health. Unlimited video consultations with a real GP at no extra cost. Search Irish Life Health today or contact your broker. Available to all new and renewing customers, Irish Life Health DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Terms and conditions and data charges may apply.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Let's hear from Sam Allardyce, who finally got his say and his spoke in, Dan, after this survey was sent out to Everton fans over the course of the last 48 hours. The Everton boss, of course, having his performance reviewed, it seems, by the Everton fan base.
Right, the survey, all right? The marketing, director of marketing and communications has clearly slipped up, all right? Our department has not been asked, what do we think of this survey that was going out? Even though I believe the survey has been recently passed out before, I think from my point of view and the football stadium end's point of view, it was a big mistake. I think it's allowed you to write some beautiful headlines. And obviously our manager and director of marketing clearly is not a great understander of football and how football works, because he's into marketing and branding and market research, so he must have thought it was the right thing to do, but clearly everybody else hasn't, and certainly my department and even the chairman I spoke to last night.
Have you had an apology then, Sam?
Off the chairman, yes. And that's it, boys, okay? So let's move on. Don't ask me how many marks I think I'd get out of 10 either.
Oh, go on, what would you give yourself?
Piss off. 11.
Big Sam's going to Big Sam, I think, at the end of the day.
He'll never change.
No, he won't. Two things stuck out from that. I suppose the most pressing of them is that obviously he's hurt by this. You can kind of hear it in his voice a little bit, as much as Sam Allardyce will ever let on. The second thing is he's quick to emphasise the chairman apologised. Yeah, not necessarily the person who's in charge of marketing, and not necessarily Fawad Mashiri. So there seems to be two strands going on above Sam. One is working to one understanding, and Bill Kenwright seems to be isolated on his own and embarrassed by the whole situation.
Yeah, you can imagine Kenwright being embarrassed by the whole thing. I'd imagine the manager or director of marketing heard a knock on his door at one point and got the sort of the booming presence of Big Sam coming in.
It's just... I was talking about this with the lads the other night. Like, you can, from one point of view, you can kind of make sense of it, because we often criticise clubs, especially clubs in England, for being out of touch with their fan base and for not accepting their input and for not taking what they have to say on board. But that taking stuff on board can go too far when you're asked on a 0 to 10 scale to assess the performance of the manager and the management team.
Yeah, and it was sent out like to a group or something, wasn't it? But
fans panel.
Fans panel. But like, I mean, are people... I mean, generally, like, how many managers are ever going to get a high score on that on a given week? I mean, Sean Dyche will do well, and, you know, Rafa maybe at the moment, and a couple of others, but people are always going to be lean towards the negative side of things with that, you know? It's... And
but it fans the flames.
It's just embarrassing, the whole thing, you know. It's clearly an idea that someone's had that, you know, it seemed like a wonderful idea. It's like putting those things in the airport to rate your experience today. Like, you know, people just vote unthinking and just like slap it down.
What one do you constantly pick on? Because you're a man who obviously walks by them and presses one of them.
No, I don't.
Blindly?
Actually, I don't. No. Sometimes go low during Terminal 2 because it just annoys me. It's a soulless place. Terminal 1. There's nothing there apart from, you know, salmon, you know, and sort of wine bars and stuff like that. It's much more. Terminal 1 is like the people's terminal, really. But
here we are. You can tell the end of the season's coming. Which is your favourite Dublin Airport terminal? But 53106 for 30 cents. When you get involved, what's your favourite airport terminal?
But like for Sam, really, I mean, this is just the whole thing. You can strip it all out. It's no nonsense. It's all part of the broader picture that he's gone, and that's it. And he's not part of this vision for the future. I think it'd be okay. Like, I know you might say that he's hurt. It's more.
He's hurt, but you get over it.
It's more annoying. It's more annoying for him, I think, than anything. Embarrassing. He's still able to, quip about it at the end, and he'll be fine. I mean, his name, his image is never going to fit whatever image Everton have for themselves going forward, however realistic that may be. He went in really on the basis that he was the short-term appointment.
It's a case of job done for him. Like he's
fine.
But I can see his point of view and why he would be annoyed with the people questioning how things have gone for him in the past 6 months. He was brought in to help Everton survive. They were, as he said today, in chaos when he arrived. That's probably a bit extreme, but they weren't doing well in the league. Full-time whistle's just gone. Chelsea have won 2-1, by the way. He was brought in to steady the ship. He's done that. They're in mid-table. They're safe. I don't think he could have brought them to a higher position in the table with the tools that are available to him at the moment.
No, and he already came in with that sort of niggling, I don't know, annoyance, insecurity, whatever you want to call it, that really Marco Silva was their first preference before him, and someone like Marco Silva, you know, his stock being seen to be higher than Sam's would really grate and chip away at him. And maybe he had notions of going in there and just really taking it by storm and becoming a sort of a loved figure amongst the fans, which he clearly
Rafa at Everton or at Newcastle is kind of the case in point.
He hasn't managed to do that in any way, and you know, there's obviously grumbles about his relationship with Wayne Rooney, and it's only a couple of weeks ago, I think it was it Paul Joyce maybe in the Times, or certainly there was a story somewhere where insiders were speaking about the atmosphere around the training ground being, you know, dreadful, you know, really bad on a sort of a day-to-day level. So he's known that the writing's on the wall. He was spouting stuff there recently about what was the line? You know, if he'd played Liverpool over two legs, as though their two league meetings were somehow comparable with the pressure of the Champions League
football in his head.
They were split. You know, they were split 3 months apart, and this was a two-legged tie. So Sam's the only person who's going in looking at this aggregate score.
Do you turn it into a three-legged tie if you count the FA Cup tie?
I'm not really sure. Maybe was that even thrown into the mix as well? Either way, there was a sort of a take put in it that would have been very favourable towards his performance. So that bluster is part of the Big Sam brand. You know, he likes to go to the bar and have a few socials with the people that he entertains. You know, he's an affable character who will continue to get work.
Picture it, Dan.
But this is not the place where he will get that work going forward.
Picture it. Sam takes a break after the Everton gig. Qualifying for Euro 2020 doesn't go well. Martin O'Neill's on the outs with the Republic of Ireland. In strides the man from Dudley.
He would love it.
Imagine, I've put this scenario
in through Terminal 2, I would imagine.
You probably would come through Terminal 2 just to piss you off.
Yeah.
But like, imagine after a big qualifier game, the Republic of Ireland are after beating France in their their World Cup qualifying group. Big Sam's up at the bar in Coppers. Half the squad are upstairs as well. Big Sam with the shirt open, probably 2-3 buttons.
Yeah.
The chain on show. Loving life.
Telling everyone how he did it.
Exactly.
In real detail.
How perfect is that image?
Flawed, I would say, the image. It'd be a pretty flawed image. But, I mean, in a strange way, you could always see why the international game suited Sam. And that is the sadness of the story, whatever about how much of a self-inflicted it was.
He would have been a bloody brilliant England manager.
He got the job that probably was perfect for him. And in some ways, he could have been perfect for them, for England, in terms of, you could just imagine with the how things can pan out around Russia this year, and if things go badly for with Gareth Southgate or whatever, that was his moment, and that has taken away from him after one competitive game. I mean, that will never leave him. I'd say that disappointment that will linger, and this stuff is just all this is noise, but that is the thing that will hurt him.
He kind of seems like he would have had the broad shoulders to deal with whatever may come from a World Cup campaign, positive or negative. The theory would be, from some elements of the press, I guess, in England, is that Gareth Southgate mightn't have the same ability to take stuff on the chin and move forward. Sam would have been, Graham, whatever, I'm sure I can get the best out of these players.
He'd be well able to handle it. He'd be well able to handle the press attention, the characters that are involved. He strikes you as a guy who's got relationships, decent relationships with some of them, and different styles of play, I would say, but Venables was always, it seemed, very comfortable in that gig. And there'd be similarities in terms of their persona and their ability to socialise and explain how everything went, and not be flustered and laugh off stuff when you need to, and not end up being pilloried like some other people were at certain times, like Hodgson, sometimes caught in the headlights a bit. Sam would have been fine, you would have thought. I think the more cameras come in, the more comfortable he gets. Although, obviously, sometimes it's the cameras he didn't notice that caused him a few issues.
Well, there is that. But, points of wine and coppers, Dan. Points of wine and coppers. Just think about it.
That's a bit of a leap to assume that'd be his typical choice.
Fair enough. It's finished at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Chelsea 2. So Burnley remaining in 7th in the Premier League. They are 4 points adrift of Arsenal. 2 points adrift of Arsenal. My maths is terrible at this hour of the night. Chelsea in 5th position and staying so this evening. The other game tonight was at the King Power. Leicester were taking on Southampton. It finished scoreless. Kevin Kilbane was there in his capacity as a BBC commentator. Kev, good evening.
Good evening, Rich. How are you keeping?
You're going to have to walk us through this one a little bit, because Burnley and Chelsea was on the TV, but as we knew going into this game, it was a game that Mark Hughes desperately wanted to win. His team selection showed that unchanged from the side that lost, let's face it, to Chelsea at the weekend, but had performed so well, I guess, in the first half. We saw pictures of him briefly at the full-time whistle with his hands on his hips, looking a bit downcast. This is a game they needed to win, they didn't.
Yeah, I think you're right. By making no changes, it was a statement to say, he was quite happy with what happened at the weekend against Chelsea. You know what? It was a great chance, I felt, here. Claude Puel indicated, the Leicester manager, before the game, he was forced into make the goalkeeping change. Ben Hamer coming in for Kasper Schmeichel. But he played Mark Albrighton at right back, which was, in his own words, experimental. He wanted to see how Mark Albrighton gets on at right back. He played Dragovic at centre half, again, experimental for next season, thinking if Dragovic can earn a contract for next season. It was almost as if he's gone with a view to next season tonight. That, in my mind, if I'm Mark Hughes and if I'm one of the, maybe even the Leicester City, the Southampton players, and that's getting relayed back to me, this is a chance, lads. What a chance it is for us tonight. And as the longer the game went on this evening, it just felt like that to me. What a chance it is for Southampton here. Shane Long had 2 great chances. One in the first half that he should have done a bit better with. He's tried to play Dusan Tadic to his right-hand side when it's on his left foot. And the second half, he's probably had the best chance of the game that he missed. So I thought tonight this was a missed opportunity for Southampton more than anything else. That was the disappointing thing I felt. Maybe if you're a Southampton fan going home tonight, that Southampton just didn't do enough, I feel, throughout this game to really go and hurt Leicester.
Where was it particularly lacking from them this evening, Kev?
Well, it was lacking from a creative point of view. Tadic, do you know what I'd say as well overall? The energy in the team. I said before the game, I'm thinking before the game, what a chance it is for you tonight. This is, let's leave nothing on the pitch tonight. I'm sure that would have been a message from Mark Hughes and his coaching staff going out. Leave nothing on the pitch tonight, because they are there for the taking. Squeeze high. Let's go at them. Let's go and seriously try and put them under pressure. Shane Long up against Dragovic and Harry Maguire. He has the pace to hurt them. Tadic and Tadic and Ward-Prowse, from an attacking point of view, weren't in the game enough. Southampton at times went with 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, and left Shane Long isolated up front. I just don't think they did enough to go and really implement any sort of attacking style on Leicester this evening. And Leicester, in fairness to them, dictated play. It was a slower tempo from them, but their dictated play, it was fairly easy for them, I felt.
Kev, what do you think happens to Shane Long if Southampton are relegated? Does he stay? Is it the right thing to do to stay? Because he's coming to a bit of a crossroads, you would feel, if they did go down. I mean, he's probably at that crossroads already to a certain extent, but if they do go down.
It's an interesting one, Dan. 2 goals this season, 2 Premier League goals this season. I think it was said to me tonight, only 5 Premier League goals in 57, and that's 58 after tonight's game. We know, he's never going to be a consistent goal scorer. He's never really done that throughout his career. But the reason Charlie Austin's on the bench is because he can't do what Shane Long does this evening, playing as that lone striker, working hard, aerial presence that he's got, yes, the ability to run in behind. That's what Charlie Austin can't bring to Southampton's game. You're asking what he's doing. It probably would look to me like he would have to stay. He'd probably have to stay. If there's an option for him to stay in the Premier League, I'm sure he would take it if that came about for him. But looking at it, looking at Southampton, looking at Shane Long as a whole, it might be beneficial for him to drop down in the Championship, play games, get in maybe more goal-scoring opportunities for himself, and then try and get a consistent run of games and goals under his belt, because he just hasn't quite happened for him over the last couple of years in the Premier League for him.
Kev, Southampton are now 4 points adrift of safety, I suppose, with Swansea having a game in hand. You're looking at Crystal Palace as being their actual nearest side, who are 5 points clear of them. It's starting to look pretty dire for them, but you look at the remaining fixtures in the Premier League and there are a couple of winnable games in there. I mean, they're at home to Southampton in the game that comes after the Cup semi-final, and then there's that game away to Swansea as well on May 8th. I mean, there is still a hope, a chink of light there for Mark Hughes.
Yeah, there is. And what sort of state will Man City be in come the end of the season? That's, with it being at home, they've got more of a chance, of course. Do you know what? If they go down, Rich, and you say, you mentioned the fixtures, the Bournemouth, the Everton, Swansea, there's winnable games, yes, for them. If they do go down this season, I think they'll look back at this game tonight, given what I spoke about early on, that it was a bit of an experimental side. Yes, Mara plays and Vardy plays tonight, and they did have a good attacking options to the side, Leicester. But Leicester weren't at it. The crowd weren't at it tonight. When you come to the King Power Stadium, Rich, Dan, it's one of the best stadiums you're going to go to in the league. Certainly from the modern day stadium, the new type stadium. The atmosphere is just brilliant here, and it wasn't there tonight. Leicester weren't at it. So that's what I go back to the point is that this was a real chance. This is a chance missed for Southampton tonight. And if they do go down, they'll look back at this one, and this is the key game for them, I feel, if they were to go down this season.
Kev, before we let you go this evening, earlier on today with Keith Andrews, we heard that John Walters is going to be staying on as long as he's fit and as long as he's wanted in the Republic of Ireland setup. I'd imagine you view that as a pretty positive outcome from the Walters point of view. Yeah,
I do. I always go back to the point is when all these journalists that were around me, Dan including, were trying to retire me when I was 26, 27, 28. I think it is key for younger players. I do. I think to have John Walters around for younger players coming in, learning from him, just the experience that he brings to the squad as well. I think it's a positive for Martin O'Neill. I think it's a positive for the Irish team going forward. Yes, we know full well he might not necessarily play every game, as John O'Shea did in the last game, in the last campaign. I think it was good that John O'Shea stayed around for the last campaign. But I think he'll play a key role even if he doesn't start every game. So I'm delighted. Yeah.
Kev, we'll let you go. We'll let you catch the helicopter along with the Leicester owner out of the King.
I'll wait for Dan. I see Dan's desperate to bite back and give me something.
Kev, we never wanted you to retire. You were the only one that stopped in the mix zone to speak, so you're always very welcome around the squad. You saw those microphones. You were straight over, pal. It was never a bad thing to have you.
Has probably got me 5 or 10 more caps. I think that's what it was.
That Kevin Kilbane, he's such a good soul around the squad. It's good to have him there. It's good to have him in the round.
He'll be depressed.
Yeah. He's shy, but we'll keep him in the squad. He's all right.
He's a good. He'll always give you 100%. Kevin Kilbane, there live from the King Power, following Leicester's scoreless draw with Southampton. As I say, Southampton remaining 4 points adrift of safety. Leicester already comfortably in mid-table in 8th position tonight. The final few bits and bobs, including news of Joey Barton and indeed a return for Alan Mannis at Shamrock Rovers on the way next.
Off the ball on News Talk.
That's the sound of Neil's house party. He loves to entertain and needed a fridge big enough for entertaining. Luckily, he visited Harvey Norman and purchased the Finlux American Fridge Freezer. Neil got this fridge at the low price of €479, saving him €220. With its large storage capacity and sleek appearance, it's the perfect addition to Neil's kitchen. For more great offers, visit Harvey Norman today, in store or online.
At Dunnes Stores, healthy eating is even easier with our Better Value 6. 6 fresh fruit and veg for only 49 cents each, every week. This week's Better Value 6 includes green cabbage, loose avocados and rhubarb. Plus, save even more with our €10 off every €50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. Minimum spend required.
All in all,
Tower Records presents Your Music, Your Life, the ultimate vinyl sale for 10 days only. Get huge discounts on vinyl albums by Kendrick Lamar, Gorillaz, Pink Floyd, The Killers, Blondie, Air, plus loads more. And don't forget Record Store Day on April 21st. We'll be celebrating from 8 a.m. in Tower Records, Dawson Street and O'Connell Street. Your Music, Your Life, the ultimate vinyl sale now on at Tower Records.
Are we nearly there yet? I need the loo. Ugh, those cows smell. Connor licked me. She pinched me. Stop looking out of my window. This crayon tastes funny.
Let's face it, we've all been on one of those long car journeys with the kids. But the good news is, with Sky Q, they can watch recordings anywhere. So you can let Peppa Pig do the hard work for a change. Sky Q, the next generation box.
Requires multi-screen subscription. Save selected recordings from last 90 days to compatible device connected to home broadband.
I'm Mary, and last year I set up Sun Fun Ireland. They're holidays based entirely around sunshine in Ireland. Sunbathing, beach volleyball, that sort of crack. And there's a bit of weather risk involved, alright, but isn't that all part of the fun?
Sun Fun Ireland is not an Energia customer because Sun Fun Ireland is not a clever business. People like Mary don't recognise that switching and slicing up to 20% off your energy bills is just, well, the clever business thing to do. If you're a clever business, visit energia.ie/business to see how you can save. Savings based on our standard business rates. Terms and conditions apply. See energia.ie.
Tile Style know all about bathrooms. Whether it's functional German design or Italian passion and flair, they have it all. Showers, taps, baths, radiators and more in a range of styles to suit your home. And we haven't even mentioned their stunning wood flooring collections yet. Tile Style gives you all the choice and quality you need in bathrooms, wood, tiles and stone. Their amazing showroom is just off the M50 at exit 10. Call in for some expert advice or log on to tilestyle.ie.
Sport. It's at the heart of every community in Ireland, and so is Special Olympics. Every day, volunteers help people with an intellectual disability experience joy through sport. The Special Olympics Annual Collection Day takes place on Friday, the 20th of April. Play your part. Please give what you can to our on-street collections on the 20th of April, or visit specialolympics.ie.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back to the show. As we mentioned, Chelsea beating Burnley 2-1 tonight. A Victor Moses winner for them, 21 minutes from time, and a 0-0 draw for Southampton away to Leicester. A result that really doesn't suit Mark Hughes' side. But really sad news yesterday, Dan, came through. The retirement at 23 of the former Cork City defender Brian Lenihan, a man who'd flirted with the Republic of Ireland senior squad. Got a decent move to Hull off the back of some really good performances for Cork, and things look promising for him. And unfortunately, one injury at Blackpool, and it's all ultimately kaput.
It led to another, yeah, it's really sad. I mean, he went to Cork, 2014. There was all the sort of magic playing shouts because he got called into an Ireland squad straight away without having even played for Hull. I think at the time, Martin O'Neill pointed out that it was sort of the endorsement of other Hull players that led to that. And yeah, certainly he was one that when he went over, there was that bit of chatter of, yeah, this guy's good. You know, there's a fair chance he would make it. He's a defender, but he also was versatile enough, played midfield as well. But as you mentioned, yeah, just one disaster sort of led to another. His last game for Hull was in August, Carabao Cup tie, and he captained the side, albeit, you know, it was a second string side, but he was obviously held in a certain esteem that, like, you know, he was given the armband for what was actually only his second appearance for the club, I think, at senior level, just apart from loan. So it's sad. He put out a very sort of eloquent statement, just speaking about, you know, needing to sort of move on, and you know, he didn't get his dream, but he almost needs to move on and sort of live a fulfilling life. This is what he needs to do, and you would hope that he's come out of it with a bit of perspective, with contacts as well. I don't know what his intentions might be. Like, he's 23.
It's a massive expanse of life to be done with your first chapter essentially at that age. It's just it's hard to get your head around. Like,
particularly 23. I mean, you know, we know Paul Corrie, who had to retire with Shamrock Rovers last year, and he's doing well for himself now in other fields, but he's 26. Even that small difference, that couple of years, you know, he's not even sort of in mid-20s stage yet. He didn't even get to live the dream enough to be able to reflect on it. You know, to have those 100 games or whatever it might be. They didn't go into specific details of what the actual problem was.
It was a knee originally, was it?
Oh, it was knee, and there was succession of knee problems, but a bit unclear as to what this retirement one was. But he's got no luck. He's got no luck whatsoever. And Yeah, I don't know the fella. I don't know him that well. I have to say, I don't know him at all.
You just kind of hope he has the right kind of people around him.
Exactly,
at this stage,
exactly. And he seems to be a popular fella. And I mean, you can flip the 23 thing around and make it as a positive. He's got a whole lot of time ahead of him to go into education or coaching education or whatever it might be. Like he's not sort of 27 with no qualifications and gone into the real world in that scary sense. So you can only wish him well. I mean, as I said, the statement was great. It suggested he's got a sort of a good head on the shoulders, and he's probably going to need it for what comes down the tracks. We've
had a text in from an anonymous source, Dan, on our chat about Sam being a pint of wine at Coppers after 2 o'clock in the morning. Big Sam was a Weston Mint barman. Best mate served him on more than one occasion. €67 shots of whiskey doubles and a pint of lager. Watch and learn, son. Watch and learn. That is a quote. That is a quote in from this anonymous texter. We can't verify. We don't know if that actually happened. But
Weston Bar totally makes sense.
Yeah,
that totally makes sense. That, or he'd be sort of he'd be in one of those places on Dawson Street, I'd say.
Right.
I'd say so. I'd imagine entertaining.
37, is that the one that Kilbane goes to a lot?
I mean, you have to narrow it down.
Man about 10, Kevin Kilbane.
Well, there was actually a Sam's bar, I think, on 30. That'd be perfect.
There is.
Like Terry Venables with his scoops or whatever his thing was back in the day. Sam could buy Sam's and just make it Sam themed paraphernalia all over the walls.
Poetry of this is it's quite something. Before we wrap, I want to say a heartfelt thanks and a farewell to our own Oisín Langan, who wrapped up here and off the ball after 14 years today of remarkable service. There wasn't a hole that man didn't help fill over the last while. Did everything. A terrible podcast host, as Dan will attest to as well during his course with us here as well.
I think it was just his company that let him down.
Pretty much. Yeah, he had a terrible co-host, but heartfelt thanks from everybody here on the show to Oisín as he makes his way in a brave new world. The man is something of a hero. Don't forget, tomorrow morning on OTB AM live at 7:45, Dave McIntyre is in with Adrian Barry. Matt Williams is going to be in studio, and Kevin Kilbane will be knocking around too. You'll get it on facebook.com/offtheball, Twitter and YouTube. Tomorrow night, we're live from the Brandon House Hotel in New Ross in association with Heineken Rugby Club. Eddie O'Sullivan, Nick Popplewell and Johnny Holland are going to be there teeing up an absolutely massive weekend of Champions Cup rugby for Leinster and Munster. Don't forget Leinster Scarlets live and exclusive on Saturdays Off the Ball. Tom Dunn is on the way next. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to everybody involved in the show tonight. Good night and good luck.
Bull and he out of space. He'll give you a move with goat like your eyes.